which, as you can see, makes more than 92% of my essays completely unrelated to Bill Bryson.
It's been a week, man. You need to just let it go.
And I need to know that you're going to have my back if this comes up, Cecil.
I don't think so.
Super strength. Turn into a bat. And drink what, Eli? Just listen to yourself. You hear yourself?
Guys, please, just in another room, maybe.
Hey, guys, what's the kerfuffle?
Look, they're arguing about your essay, Noah.
Yeah, and Tom won't take a side because he has COVID. It doesn't matter. Cecil, Noah, who do you think wins in the Munster Rebellion? Yeah, is it a vampire or a tall man?
Oh,
Frankenstein is not just a tall man. He has super strength.
Guys, my essay isn't about who would win in a fight between the Munsters.
It's not?
Yeah, if I could actually get a blanket.
Tom, shut up. Wait,
it's not chills.
No, it's a fascinating historical episode complete with polygamous, communist, pre-Amish genital mutilation and end of the world cults.
Oh, well, I guess we'll never know then.
Yeah, all right.
Speaking of knowing, I was thinking the other day about the sources from which I draw my essay subjects.
No, we're not talking about your essay pattern.
What? No, I was.
We heard you practicing in your room last night. Yeah, for like a while.
So Tom has COVID. How's that going for you, Tom?
Yeah, honestly, the cough has me a little.
I'm just saying, if you examine the spreadsheet of my essays, which, by the way, I have color-coded
worry
here.
It's a little worry.
Tom, quiet down.
Vampire totally wins. Hello and welcome. Citation Needed, podcast where you choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because it's the internet. That's how it works now. I'm Cecil, and I'll be under siege today, but I'll need my fellow Steven Seagalian prophets, Keith, Eli, Noah, and Tom.
I'm going to get choked out and shit myself. Prophecy? Nailed it. I no longer fit into a bulletproof vest. Yeah, okay, this is tracking. I get it. Okay.
And I am a triple black belt in the martial art that I just made up. So yeah, this all tracks.
It's all working out.
Look, I get it. The only place I'm nearly the man I think I am is in my own head. So, yeah.
All right, but before we head into the Jodo, patrons get access to our private walled city. And if you'd like to learn how to join their ranks, be sure to stick around until the end of the show. And with that out of the way, tell us, Eli, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
We will be talking about the positively glorious Munster Rebellion.
And Noah, I presume this is not about the greatest variety of cheese for a grilled cheese. So what was the Munster Rebellion?
What? Oh, first we let Tom and Heath say psychology isn't real. Now Cecil's lying about Jesus.
No,
we used to be skeptics on this show.
I was saying psychiatry.
We don't take cheese information from vegans. Just so you know.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's a thing we don't do.
But Munster's flavorless.
Munster is are you kidding me? It's like salty, delicious. It's got chew. You pull it. You could like stretch it across the room.
This is not what the
case is closed. I'm sorry, the case is closed.
In terms of room stretchiness, I'll give you some points. But Noah?
So in answer to that other question that you asked before the cheese discussion, the Munster Rebellion is the closest the Amish ever came to kicking ass. Proto-Amish anyway. It was an effort by the Anabaptists in the 16th century to create a communist theocracy in a walled city in present-day Germany. And spoiler alert, the Proto-Amish did not ultimately kick ass or come particularly close, actually.
Okay, Proto-Amish German communists is a lot.
Right?
Like, I feel like somebody was playing Mad Libs with boomer fears and just filling it in.
So, in a lot of ways, the inciting incident here is Martin Luther's 95 Theses in 1517. Catholic Church's millennia plus monopoly on religion in Western Europe has started to erode, and the erosion is starting in the Holy Roman Empire.
Wow. And then he came here and did all that civil rights stuff.
Okay.
Eli owns a third of our company.
That's
bad.
So I'm talking here, of course, about the Protestant Reformation, and pretty much by day 2 of said Reformation, Protestants were already starting to schism. So by some estimations, there are as many as 33,000 denominations of Protestantism right now, right? So that number is a little misleading, but it's still pointing to a very real problem. The whole initial concept of Protestantism is that theology shouldn't be dictated from a single authority, which makes it really hard for a single authority to dictate to it.
Yeah. Not even God can pull that off.
Yeah.
Right?
That's great. That's the rock you can't
Can
lift
God
right there.
make a religion so fractious that, you know,
You know, honestly, I think they really should have seen that one coming. Okay, so there you go. You're now free to worship as you please without needing a priest as the intercessor.
Oh man, finally. That's great. Really. Thank you so much. So what happens next?
Neck? No, nothing. You're free to believe as you wish. Your relationship with the divine is yours.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that. So glad to be rid of the priests. So what do I believe now?
No. It's anything you want. You let the Bible itself, it's your guide, your signpost, your rock.
Cool. What does the Bible say?
But what does it? I mean, read it, man. It's yours to read, to grow, and to. You're not gonna read it, are you?
Is it long?
You know, all right, just go ahead and have a seat in the pew. An usher will be by with a rattlesnake in a few minutes.
Nice.
So now, among these early branches of Protestantism, you have Anabaptism. That's a denomination distinguished by the belief that infant baptism doesn't count. So they believed other shit too. But their big thing was that you had to get rebaptized as adults. And as trivial as that distinction might seem to us, it's the kind of heresy that folks murdered their neighbors for back in the 1500s. So even in a country increasingly open to Lutheranism, Anabaptism was outlawed and its practitioners were driven underground. So by the late 1520s, one of the most influential voices in Anabaptism was this dude named Melchior Hoffman.
Jew.
No. He started as a lay preacher
Christian.
and eventually promoted himself to prophet, like you do. And he started telling everybody who would listen that Jesus was coming back any minute. In fact, he even gave a place and date. Jesus was going to come back on Easter Sunday in 1533 in Strasbourg.
Really? That really worked out, like geographically,
Right? Yeah. So now this was very concerning to the leaders in Strasbourg, especially when he prophesied that Christ's return would be preceded by a purging of the ungodly, whatever the hell that means. So the authorities had him thrown in jail.
Yeah, stupid move on their part. Jesus shows up. He threw his welcoming committee in jail. You're going to be in trouble.
Right? So now Hoffman had a deep commitment to nonviolence. But the guy who ended up taking the reins from him when he went to jail, a dude by the name of Jan Matthias, not so much. So Easter comes and goes, and as the history buffs in the audience already know, Jesus did not come back that year.
Fun fact, Jesus has never come back. So
Well, it's a bit of a,
going on
bit of
too.
a spoiler for the rest of this story, but thank you, Cecil. So now this was, of course, super disappointing to all the acolytes of Hoffman that showed up in Strasbourg to catch the show. Needless to say, the people sure that the world was about to end, they didn't show up in town with a lot of savings, right, or any intention of getting work when they got there. So the city is just teeming with unemployed, despondent proto-Amish people.
Yeah, a couple of jugglers watch it happen, start a podcast. I know.
But at the same time that the Anabaptists in Strasbourg are coming to grips with this shit, a bit of a revival is taking place 300 miles or so to the north in Munster. So Munster was already one of the friendliest cities to Lutherans in all of Europe, and thanks to this the charismatic preaching of a guy named Bernard Rothman.
Jew?
No, still no. Nobody in this story, actually.
Okay.
But thanks to him, Anabaptism is really gaining traction. It's gotten to the point where, unlike pretty much any other city in the Holy Roman Empire, Anabaptists can just openly practice their religion there. So self-appointed prophet Jan Matthias has a new vision. It turns out that Hoffman was right about Jesus coming back, but he was off by one Easter and 300 miles. Jesus was going to come back on Easter of 1534 in Munster.
Yeah, because Jesus got his directions from a talking rabbit obsessed with Albuquerque. That's what happened. Yeah.
No. I get it now. Wait, hold. It's not Munster. It's Munsters. I know this story. Then they head to Transylvania, then the American suburbs. The little boy turns out to be a werewolf. This is
It's all coming together now. So needless to say, Anabaptists rushed to the spot, but unlike in Strasbourg, Anabaptists actually had some real political power in Munster. Some of the wealthiest families in that town had converted to Anabaptism, including a guy whose name is just too delicious not to include, a guy named Bernard Nipperdalling.
Bernhard Nipperdalling, is that what you said?
Yes. Yep.
He's an elder dragon who does porn in addition to whatever he does in this story. Because he sounds like an
He's
elder
not.
dragon.
He missed his fucking calling. Yeah, no shit. So he was the town's guild leader. I don't know exactly what that means, but it made him powerful enough that at one point he sued the area's Catholic sovereign for discriminating against Protestants and didn't get hanged or anything. So he's that kind of rich. So with apologies for throwing so many characters at you so quickly, that Prince Bishop, that's a dude named Franz von Waldeck, and he's about to become super important in this story because the first thing that Jan Matthias does when he shows up in Munster is declare that God wants all the Catholics executed. Now, Bernard Nipperdalling convinces him to back off of that a bit, and instead, God settles for letting all of those people have a week to either get rebaptized and become Anabaptists or leave the city. This is February in Germany. And he's not going to let these people take any of their possessions with them when they go.
Now, I said we are committed to nonviolence. That is why you will get a head start.
It's so fucked up. Religion was just Squid Games, like forever.
Yes. Yep. Right. Very much.
And also still now, wherever they're allowed to do it.
Yeah, really, yeah. So the Prince Bishop hears about this now. He doesn't actually live in Munster, and that matters a lot because Munster is a walled city at this time in history. And by the time he can muster a significant force of arms and get there, they've already declared themselves an independent Anabaptist kingdom. They've appointed Jan Matthias as their leader. They've elected Bernard Nipperdalling as their mayor because Matthias didn't want to do the actual running of the city type shit. And they declared war against the Prince Bishop.
Yeah, so it's like modern day Seattle. We get it. No, you should just keep it.
It's going to get more and more like modern day Seattle as we go. So now Cecil could probably explain this in detail, but even if you have a vastly superior force, it's really fucking hard to take a walled city.
Absolutely, Noah. See, the problem with a walled city is often they have the murder holes.
Cecil, I'm actually in the middle of the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. No, sorry. Go ahead. It's fine.
So instead of attacking, von Waldeck lays siege to the city, and that makes sense for a lot of reasons. First of all, it's cheaper.
Hate Cecil's details about everything so much. Our personas are such assholes. I don't know why. You guys have a persona?
I quit the podcast.
Couple of reasons he goes for the siege. First of all, cheaper than attacking the city, right? Especially when you own that city and you have to rebuild it afterwards. Secondly, this whole rebellion is predicated on the idea that Jesus is going to show up on Easter Sunday, which is only about 6 weeks away when this thing starts. So von Waldeck is pretty sure, that isn't going to happen. And then when it doesn't, the morale of the rebels is going to take quite a hit. So as von Waldeck is arraying his forces outside, Jan Matthias is inside the walls trying to remake the city in the image of his interpretation of Christianity, right? So one of the main things that drew people to Anabaptism was this theological commitment to communal property. So the first thing that he did was outlaw private property, and to make sure that nobody was cheating on that, he sent loyalists to every residence to clean it the fuck out and keep everything in a central store. Then he added laws against every conceivable kind of sin. The punishment for all of those was death, and he was the judge. Then he outlawed closing your front door so that the ecclesiastical authorities could poke their heads in at any time to make sure you weren't, sinning.
But the town exhibitionist was trying to act cool. He was like, yeah, I mean, whatever. Keeps everyone Christian. I take a bath at 2 p.m.
And another at 3:30.
I love that Eli's mind went straight to okay, what would this be like for the town exhibitionist? You care about your people, I care about mine.
So meanwhile, Nipperdalling is busy with the more practical shit. First and foremost, of course, organizing the city's defenses for the inevitable attack by von Waldeck. Matthias also makes him the city's head executioner, and that turns out to be a full-time job as well.
He's like, shit, guys. Turns out, all the clothes are actually mixed fibers. I didn't even realize. It's just it's every day. Can we do like a bunch of people at a time in the guillotine? I don't know.
How many can we stack? Is it like a can crusher?
And that actually began the ancient prototype for the slap chop.
Oh, interesting. It's a fun fact. So, okay.
There must be a better way to get this.
So it's into this environment that the sun rises on April 4th of 1534. That is Easter Sunday. And once again, no Jesus. I think Matthias even gave like a specific hour, like you're supposed to show up at noon or something. So everybody's gathered together to have a big party, whatever that looks like in a city where every known form of fun was punishable by the death penalty.
In my experience, it's cheese steaks, Noah. Cheese steaks.
Okay, yeah. No, that makes sense.
Philadelphia? Yeah.
And
that's for you, Oren. Because they had to KY jelly their whole city to avoid getting giant mobs climbing on everything when they win Super Bowls and stuff. Yeah, that one's for Oren.
Even when they lose.
Yeah, right. So no, and for a few minutes, they can make excuses like, oh, maybe that clock's fast. And then for a few more minutes, they can be like, well, maybe Jesus is running late. Let's make a big entrance. But pretty soon, everybody's looking at Matthias, who again has been telling him that he can speak directly to Jesus. Like he'll have conversations with Jesus where he can hear him, nobody else can. And of course, everybody's at this point is wondering what the fuck is going on.
Oh, that's the greatest. We actually got to watch this type of thing happen in New York City in 2011. It was delightful.
Yep.
The idiots, they got all together and they got so excited because there was a rain cloud right around the time that shit was supposed to go down. But then nothing, because that's dumb. There was not a godly apocalypse. It was great. It was like watching 1,000 magicians do their big reveal and just be like, Shazam! Hey! And the trapdoor didn't work. All of them at the same time, just crestfallen.
Except that all of those musicians were like, the trick was to kill you, right? To murder you. Yeah. It's great. So, okay. So just when everybody's thinking, so what, we throw him over the wall or what? Matthias falls to the ground and he starts trembling and he comes up with a new revelation. See, the reason Jesus hasn't showed up yet is because the ungodly hadn't been all the way purged. But not to worry, God had granted him superpowers. So he was going to ride out with 12 men at his side and defeat the Prince Bishop's entire army.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so he gathers together 12 guys. I bet they felt real lucky.
Not it.
Yeah, right.
13th warriors just standing on the side like, fuck no, not me, bro. No.
So they charge out of the gate on horseback. There's an entire army there to greet him. The bishop is supposed to have something like 3,000 mercenaries just lined up and waiting for him. So Matthias and his guys get very, very killed, like right away.
Super killed.
Yeah, they cut off Matthias's head. They mount it on a pike in front of the city. And then that night, in an act of mutilation that takes a stunning amount of commitment, they nailed his cock and balls to the city door.
Wow.
In February? That's like nailing up a temperamental shrinky dink. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, if you've got your enemy's head on a pike and they're all stuck inside of a walled city, though, how's that not time for a little puppet show over the top of the walls? Like,
100%.
Oh, hello, I'm Freddie McDeadface. I'm going to beat the whole army by myself.
Oh, he's rising again like Jesus. No, he's not.
Missed
no, God
opportunity.
Damn it.
Man.
So at this point, you would think the story
Cake pops
ends.
were weird back then. That's all I'm saying.
They're still pretty fucking weird, man. So at this point, you would think the story ends, right? Like that's certainly got to be what von Walduck was thinking. Then that's what a lot of the rebels thought too. They didn't get their second coming. Their leader was dead. They were starting to run low on supplies after more than a month under siege. But just then, a new leader emerged.
Miraculous.
Yeah, right? A new guy started talking to Jesus. This was a guy named John Bockelson, known to history as John of Leyden. And he started having new and improved visions. Turned out Jesus was speaking through him now. And once the townspeople found out what kind of shit Jesus was saying to them, they started to long for the days when their leader was just executing them for masturbating.
Oh, well. We're going to give all those people in the town a minute to clear their browser history while we take a break for some apropos of nothing.
can't believe we have to do this.
You're the one who shouted, cut his dick off and nail it to the door.
Okay, that didn't mean I was volunteering. I just said that.
Yes, it does. That's what it means. That's exactly what it means.
Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're here. Here. You hold. I'll nail it.
Oh, absolutely not. You're going to hold and I'm going to nail it.
Oh my God. Fine. Go.
Dude, not like that.
What do you mean? What's wrong with this?
It's like a weird bat symbol. Just hold the dick and I'll do one right through the center of the dick,
That's
man.
not going to hold. You should do one through each ball.
I am not discussing this. Hold the dick, please, and thank you.
Fine.
Fuck.
Great. You split it. I told you.
God damn it.
You want to do the balls now?
No, just put the pieces on top of each other. We can still just use one nail.
Dude, what?
Like the sharp thing for receipts, man.
It's going to split again.
It's not going to split again. Hold it.
Fine. And I told you.
Fucking shit. Fuck.
Hey, who goes there?
Oh, fuck. It's the guards.
I've got a hot tub here.
Nope. Please don't hot tar us. We were just
Speak up now. I'm about to pull.
We're here to nail your guy's dick to the door, but it's super slippery and we messed up.
Did you try going through the balls?
Ha! Told you.
I hate you so much. Well, when we left off, people were serving heads on pikes like a shish kebab instead of the natural plating on a platter and its own juices. It's terrible. Anyway, what happened next?
This is all over the map, culinarily speaking. Yeah. So
Plating in this story is offensive. I agree.
It's really.
All right, so one thing that von Waldeck really had going for him at this point is that the Anabaptist problem and the larger problem of the Radical Reformation was going on all over the place. So basically, everyone in any level of authority had a vested interest in not seeing the Anabaptists succeed in taking over Munster.
Yeah, because that would be no Gouda.
Right. So to this point,
I'm sorry, was that joke a little cheesy?
So to this point, all the sovereigns nearby are happy to lend troops and cannons and supplies or whatever. But now that things have been going on for a little while, some of those very same sovereigns are worried it's going to inspire similar revolts. It's going to look like it's been successful. So the people giving him all this military aid start pressing him to just attack the damn city and end this shit.
What's taking so long? Just have Janet Reno run over their kids with a tank.
Jesus Christ.
For the younger members of our audience, the Attorney General of the United States once ran over children with a tank, but it's fine because they were probably already dead.
Right, they were probably already burned to death by a different
I don't think
thing.
Janet Reno was driving, but I think she
No,
ordered
that's
it.
fair,
She
that's
walked out
fair.
of the one. She
So,
definitely stepped out of the one.
I like it better if she's driving it, though. I feel like that's,
Thank you.
stand by your...
No, yeah, right.
stand by your
Live
things.
in the moment.
So, okay.
Exactly.
So they set a date for the attack and they spread it around the ranks of various mercenaries that they're going to be attacking the following morning. Of course, word leaks to the Anabaptists as well, so they start preparing their defenses. Then, in a stroke of luck for the Anabaptists, and in a story that probably isn't true, but it's just way too fucking good to leave out, a few of the mercenaries get shit-faced drunk that afternoon. They pass out. They wake up to the sun setting, think it's the sun rising, and assume they're late to the battle. So they throw their armor on, they charge in, and then upon seeing this group rushing the city walls and nervous that they're going to miss out on all the good raping and pillaging, most of the rest of the bishop's army just attacks as well.
See, now this is why you have to decide ahead of time. Is it 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, go?
All right, guys. So for the next time, it's on go. It's obviously on go. Also, quick review about East and West. You know about that, right?
Right.
We don't have to do this.
So now we've got this like disorganized, impromptu, leaderless, drunken battle because everybody's drinking the night before a fucking battle. It's ramping up just as the sun is going down and it's about to be dark. And again, the Anabaptists are ready for it. They haven't been drinking. They're fucking Amish, right? So they've been expecting this in the morning, of course, but they've already been like they've been drilling all day. They've got their pitch boiling. They've got their weapons. It's ready. So the disorganized army crashes against the wall. It gets boiling pitch dumped all over it. It suffers a barrage of arrows. Ultimately retreats. A lot of people run into the to the moat in their fucking armor and drown.
Jesus.
Bunch of fucking people die. Way fewer people retreat than the number of people who attack. And that makes attacking again in the morning a bit complicated.
Bad dress, good opening. Am I right, everybody?
Now, the Prince Bishop would try another attack a bit later. This time, he would get thwarted by a sudden downpour and a defense that had been digging in for months at that point. But eventually, he gave up on the idea of attacking and decided he was just going to starve him out, whatever that took.
So you're telling me starving them out was always an option? I'd have to get my entire left side poached in oil? What the fuck?
Yeah, but now you smell delicious, and that'll drive them crazy.
All right, so meanwhile, John of Leyden was setting about his role as the new king of Munster and the voice of God. And one of the first things he did, once granted unlimited power and authority over everyone in the city, was start fucking them. So among his first holy revelations was that God wanted to reinstitute the practice of polygamy, and then in quick succession, he took 16 wives. And then he had one of them publicly executed when she spoke out against him. Now, to be clear, we don't actually know how much of the sex stuff was just propaganda put out by Catholics trying to discredit the whole movement, right? The story was very much written by the Anabaptist enemies, but the story at least is that John of Leyden instituted a policy where girls had to say yes to whoever proposed to them first, and he set off like a Oklahoma land rush kind of situation. And I say girls intentionally. We're not necessarily talking about women here. A lot of these girls are as young as 14 and being claimed by men in their 50s. Yeah. So Bernard Rothman sets about writing a theological justification for the polygamy, where he points out that some of God's favorite biblical characters actually had multiple wives. Besides, the city had 9,000 residents at this point. Only about 1,600 of them were men. So, how else are you going to keep all those women from falling into sin by having sex outside of wedlock?
Right.
For their own.
And then he got hooked on benzos. He put himself in a coma to get off them. He cries about Kermit the Frog on a live. I know this story.
Yeah. So needless to say, the women whose souls were being rescued by this policy weren't all that excited about the prospect of marrying whoever managed to claim them.
Just a bunch of women faking loud phone calls on their hand everywhere.
Right. Yes.
Carrying around blenders. What was that?
I can't hear you.
What was that?
So
I'm deaf now. We all went deaf. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so weird. So in fact, so many women refused to play along that John and his leadership council had to create a women's prison out of an old convent. But the idea of going to prison was so much more appealing than being the wife number 7 for some middle-aged pervert that they just had to abandon the idea of jailing them pretty much right away. But wives weren't John of Leyden's only access. After declaring himself king, after God declared him king through him, he had lavish royal outfits made and royal insignia drawn up, and he paraded through town with a royal entourage, and he feasted on the finest foods the city had to offer while pretty much everyone else starved. So by spring of 1535, the city had been under siege for more than a year, and people were so hungry they were trying to eat paving stones and shit.
Not John, though. John was eating the finest lice and plague rats the besieged town had to offer. Tiger blood, my man. Tiger blood.
Now, you would think that religious movements would only get one. Well, Jesus actually meant next Easter, but it turns out that every new prophet gets one.
Yep.
So Hoffman predicted Jesus would come on Easter of 1533. When that didn't come true, Matthias reissued it for 1534. And when it failed again in 1534, Leyden reissued it for 1535. Needless to say, people were way less confident the third time around.
Really?
And to help convince everybody that he was being truthful, Leyden also said that if Jesus failed to show up on Easter Sunday of 1535, he would surrender himself to be executed as a false prophet. And honestly, given his tyrannical rule, it's hard to say which option the people in Munster would have preferred by the time that date started getting close.
Yeah, because in Munster, false prophets are torn limb from limburger.
I'm surprised there haven't been more cheese puns, honestly. So, yeah.
Okay, if I'm the Catholic Prince Bishop guy, I'm having someone dress up as Jesus Christ and show up the day before Easter to fucking prophecy and get that guy killed.
It's a guy who fucked it up. So Now, of course, Easter comes and goes once more. No Jesus. And just as predictably, John did not give himself up to be executed. Instead, he said that Jesus had returned invisibly, and now everyone's sins had been forgiven, and they were in paradise, and they were welcome. Now, at this point, a lot of people just openly wanted out. And for his part, John didn't want to keep feeding them anyway. So he said, hey, anybody who wants to leave can go. And a bunch of the starving rebels took him up on it, but von Waldeck wasn't just going to let him go, right? So he just straight up executed most of the people that came out and hung their bodies where the rest of the Munsterites could see them.
Ooh, puppet show reboot.
And there you go.
I'm going to escape the walled city.
And there were a few that he didn't execute, like women and children and stuff, but he just turned them back. Now, Leyden isn't going to let him back in and have to feed him, so they end up just spending the remainder of the siege halfway between the city's walls and the bishop's army, just starving to death in the field. But eventually, by June of 1535, damn near a year and a half after the siege began, it came to an end. A few guards in the city offered to help von Waldeck exploit a weakness in their defenses in exchange for amnesty, and on June 24th, they managed to sneak about 300 soldiers into the city. Now, John gathered every fighting-age man together, put a sword in their hands, but they're all starving to death. They don't make particularly good fighters at this point. The battle was over the following day, and of the more than 10,000 people who started off in the rebellion, only a few hundred survived long enough to recant, disavow Anabaptism, and be spared.
Wow. Okay, that's really bad. I'd love to have sympathy for all the dead people, but they died being like, no, I'm dipping my head in magic water as a grown-up, too. I would rather starve to death than only do it once as a baby. No. Fuck you. I'm glad you're dead.
The overwhelming majority of these people had no say in how this played out, right? They didn't want the city to rebel or whatever. They were just stuck in it. But yeah, the leaders certainly had it coming. So now for his part, John of Leyden was taken alive along with Bernard Knipperdolling and a member of his council of 12, a third guy named Bernard that I had to leave out because I didn't want to make the cast too confusing.
Maybe
right?
if you'd let me point out more Jews.
There were no Jews in this
I could have found
story,
the Jews.
man.
You want to name some Jews now? Just some other ones? Adolf? What?
No. So the three of them were sentenced to be tortured to death in the public square. And feel free to skip ahead a minute or so if you don't want all the gory details, but I'm going to give them. Each of the three was attached to a pole with a spiked collar, and then his body was ripped apart with red-hot tongs for an hour. And they did them like one after the other, starting with John. And they did it in such a way as not to kill him. So he had to just like hang out there for 2 hours with his guts all ripped up while they took care of the Bernards. Then all three men had their tongues pulled out, and then they were killed with a burning dagger to the heart.
Jesus.
Yeah, no idea why it would be burning, right? Like, as a dagger to the heart would have done it. I feel like that's just theatrical.
Okay.
Right?
Not for nothing, but I would feel cheated if I went third. Because, everyone's paying attention to the first two screaming guys the whole time. Everyone's bored. Wow. Nobody's watching you.
Jesus, Eli, you are the only person in history whose need for attention trumps your actual need for survival. Like, ancient Eli's got a tight 5. He's been rehearsing in the dungeon for his last words.
Yeah. You think that's just ancient Eli?
I was going to say, I sure wish Eli was the only person in history for whom that was true. But yeah. So interestingly, their ordeal didn't end at death. Well, at least not in the eyes of the religious lunatics of the day. So as to deny them a proper burial and to warn off would-be revolutionaries thinking about doing the same thing, the three men's bodies were put in cages and hung from the steeple of the local Catholic church, the St. Lambert's Church. The bodies rotted in those cages for 50 years before the remains were taken out, but the 3 cages still hang from the church steeple to this day.
Yeah, no, I still have my Christmas lights up, so.
Yeah, it's like that.
They put a little tinsel on them at Christmas time. And if you had to summarize what you learned in one sentence, what would it be?
As long as I wait 10 years, it's okay to copy off of Dan Carlin's homework.
Are you ready for the quiz?
Yeah, sure, why not?
All right, Noah, what are some other tragic moments in history with war crimes and also cheese words? A, the Battle of Antietam. B, Antietam. Edam is fucking cheese. God damn it. Okay. I didn't know it was a cheese.
I didn't know it was a cheese either.
Edam cheese. It's name it. It's fine. You have to capitalize it. B, the Battle of
Iwo Jima. C, it's the genocide of the Kurds. Or D,
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God.
the
Yikes.
Swiss being neutral in World War II, because that's just
Oh, nice.
Sure,
Well
yeah.
done. Well done.
Or
Ah.
E, I didn't really ask a question that made sense. Which is your favorite of those?
Right. Yeah. So I'm tempted to go with the Battle of Antietam because I want you to feel better about yourself at the end. But it's got to be C, the genocide of the Kurds.
do that.
Yeah, it was. See, I felt amazing about myself before you even said that.
Oh,
Because
okay. All right. Well, in
Antietam
that
was
case, then,
amazing. Just some people don't get things. You have to know things. to get things.
Noah, obviously Christianity is a religion of peace and not just some tribute band to a Bronze Age war god. So how can you tell a real religious sect from a cult? A, how long it takes the leadership to suggest God wants them to fuck all the women. B, that's it. That is the only difference. C, reject the premise. There is no difference.
Ooh.
Oh, all right. Interesting. I thought I had it, and you threw me for a loop. I think it's going to be B. That is the only difference.
It is the only difference. That's right.
All right.
That's right.
Awesome.
All right, Noah, what are some of the best hangout spots in a polygamous communist cult city? A, the Poly Armory.
Nice. Well done, dude.
I like that one.
B, head on a Pike's Place market.
Okay.
C, Mount Long Mayhe Rainier. Seattle.
What?
Seattle. D, if you're unlucky to be there at the end, Space Needle in your face.
What happened?
Boy, you really blew your load with that first one.
I really just have polyamory.
Maybe
Tom always
Maybe just leave one.
E.
Nobody did the one this
Polyamory.
week. You could just leave it at one.
Yes. I'm going to go with A, the Poly Armory.
That is wrong. It's the head on the Pike's Place market. I was
Oh,
proud of that one,
Oh, close second. Eli
too. Yeah,
wins.
I want Tom to write an essay.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, for Noah, Heath, Eli, and Tom, I'm Cecil. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week. And by then, Tom will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, be thankful you don't live in the 1500s. And if you'd like to help keep this show going, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review everywhere you can. Like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes. Be sure to check out citationpod.com.
Reginald Coughoff, I sentence you to death for crimes against the king.
Cut off his dick and shove it up his butt.
What is with it with you, man? Oh, absolutely not. You're going to hold and I'm going to nail it.
Oh my God, fine, go.
Dude, not like that.
What do you mean? What's wrong with this?
It's like a weird bat symbol. Just hold the dick and I'll do one right through the center of the dick,
That's not
man.
going to hold. You should do one through each ball.
I am not discussing this. Hold the dick, please, and thank you.
Fine.
Fuck.
Great, you split it. I told you.
God damn it.
You want to do the balls now?
No, just put the pieces on top of each other. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay.
Such an amazing visual.
Okay. It's like you're making a club sandwich here. Okay, here we go. It's like a Dagwood. Okay, here we go.